Okay.
Hello and welcome to the Instaronpa Podcast. My name is Apollo.
My name is Nicky. It's just us two today, but we do have our very special guest, Taya. Woo.
Hello. Glad to be here.
Oh. Because we don't really have much of an intro, how about you tell us about your Rompa, how it, what it is and all that?
Of course, sure thing. I even wrote down a whole thing, so just sit down, relax for a second, and let me tell you. Okay, so Danganronpa Sims is what I like to call a machinima webcomic. It's entirely shot in The Sims 4 and is currently on the 5th chapter of the 2nd season. I've been working on it since July of 2019, so it's really gotten quite long, as you might imagine. The general synopsis is, in a world where reality is not always quite what it seems, not everyone can agree on what it truly means to be alive. So it is technically a fangin, since each season centers on the killing games, but the only real ties it has to Danganronpa is the concept of ultimates in killing games, and I plan to continue the story outside of the killing games, as there's actually a bit more that needs to happen after the 2nd season is done to really wrap things up, the whole overarching story and whatnot. And there's also a lot of potential for spin-off series, but that's for later. There's a lot of original lore to this universe, mainly inspired by concepts introduced in The Sims, and with plenty of fantasy elements. So for example, there's the concept of the plumb bob, that iconic green Sims crystal thing, which is meant to be the physical embodiment of one's soul in life, but it could also be used as a means of control, and the very concept of that gives a lot of people in this universe the wrong idea. And there's also major factions like the Simmers, which are the people who believe they're living in a simulation, and they believe they can escape the simulation by hosting these killing games and doing bad stuff, basically, that they can come to the quote-unquote real world. There's also vampires, mermaids, witches, magic, aliens, and funny talking gnomes, and cake. So yeah, I like to blend a bit of humor into this. So honestly, for those of you who are listening and haven't read this, I honestly just suggest starting at season 2, because when I started season 1, it wasn't really all that serious, but then I kind of got more serious as it went along. And I'm actually in the process of rewriting season 1 and reposting it at Dangan Sims, which is a separate account, but it's still the same thing. So yeah, there's also plans to make a voice-acted version, and I have voice actors, but right now I'm just focusing on what's going on Instagram. There we go. There's my intro.
Woo!
Whoa, that was very...
I wrote it down, like I said.
I mean, oh yeah, that's completely valid. I'm just saying, wow, that is very interesting.
It's interesting, yeah. It's something that I don't think many people would think of whenever they hear fan game.
Yeah, especially, I think it's quite different.
Yeah, especially with most Instaronpas, because it's just drawn slides, but
right, yeah. Mine's also posted on Instagram stories instead of in posts. So I feel like when a lot of people come to my account, they get kind of confused, or maybe they just don't see that part. I can't tell when people read it after the first couple of days, because it's not like you just like it or whatever, but I think it's a lot easier for organization and whatnot, because you don't have to scroll down on these posts. You just scroll to the correct highlight and start from where you left off. It's organized by chapter into parts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is a question that I just sort of came up with before we actually get into anything. Since your series is video based, would you consider, or have you uploaded it to YouTube, just to kind of capitalize on the gimmick of it being already in the form of video?
Well, it's technically not already in the form of video. It's kind of more it kind of feels more like a webcomic, but I am working, but it's kind of way down the line of a video series version that I do plan to post on YouTube, but it's really far in the future, because editing videos is actually a whole lot of work, and so is editing audio. So I just kind of have all these voice actors just sitting in limbo. They probably think I've quit the series, and I'm just telling them guys, I'm still writing it. It's still going on.
Fair enough.
There are some video specials that are available. that were posted like in chapter 1 and stuff, but for the most part, it's not actually a video.
Mm. Oh. Well, then I guess if you're ready, we can hop into the questions from people who left them on our story.
Let's go for it!
Paulo, do you want to ask the first one? Should I?
Sure. All right.
Okay.
The first one is from DGR Double or Nothing, and he asks, "How do you get all your game screenshots to look so good?"
Oh, well, okay, so I use this program called Reshade, which basically, you can, like, apply all these different filters to it, and it basically puts a filter over your game, and, like, I just use the in-game camera for that, but, there's a separate camera for Reshade, that, like, it saves it to a different place, so it's a little bit confusing because I take the pictures from there directly to another folder and then I put them on my phone, but the pictures, they're actually, like, they take up a lot of space because they're so high quality, so I literally have, like, a folder in my documents that's just, like, 50 gigabytes worth of pictures, and it's a little bit crazy.
Holy shit. Oh,
yeah.
God.
Good thing my phone has a lot of space. My last phone didn't have a lot of space, and I had to constantly delete stuff just so that I could get more pictures.
Jeez.
Yeah. Also, there's, like, an in-game camera, like, for anybody that plays The Sims 4, like, when you press tab, it allows you to go in this kind of cinematic mode, so you can kind of, like, move your camera around to wherever you want. It's pretty great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I can take the next. I'll say 2 questions because the next question is breeds out a lot. Keeping up the Moana lyrics with "Does the village say you drift too far?"
Of course they do.
Quick aside, I realized that because of how we recorded the April Fool's Day episode, the lyrics are backwards.
Oh no!
Because we started with, like, the last section and then went back up to the first one. So just everything's out of order, and I love it. God,
well, it just be like that sometimes.
Yeah. But anyways, into the actual question, again from Brave.alon. Do you use custom packs and mods for your Ronpa? If so, what ones?
Yeah, so I use a lot of custom content. It's slowly gotten more and more over time. Like, originally I had a little bit, but then as I got more, I would also, like, continuously, like, redress my characters. So I guess that's one thing that I like about having it in a video game, not drawing inspires, because imagine if you had to draw, like, a new outfit every day, you just wouldn't, because most people, they're just like, yeah, just give one outfit. But I like having all these different outfits, so I'm constantly downloading more custom content, so I can dress them with something new every day. And I also have some mods, like, I have some mods that I don't really use, like the extreme violence mod and stuff. Like, I don't use it. I use a lot of custom, like, pose packs sometimes. I also have, like, a mod that lets me like the command center mod, which, like, lets you basically, it's extra cheats, so I can just really fine-tune things where I want. Yeah, extra cheats. Make my Sims not be hungry, not have to go to the bathroom, because that just wastes time. I don't have that time.
They're too busy trying to kill each other. They can't have bodily
Exactly.
functions.
I don't have time to go to the bathroom or go to sleep. I'll just skip the time to, like, when I need it.
That's tight. I respect that.
All right. What gave you the idea from this Ronpa from Dangan Interchaos?
What gave me the idea? Well, so here's the thing. I used to join a lot of Danganronpa roleplays from, like, 2015 to, I want to say, like, early 2019. I was, like, a pretty avid role player, and I always kind of wanted to do my own fangan, but I was like, it just looks like a lot of work. I mean, like, having to draw all of that and having to, like, I don't know, imagine all of these, like, story. I had OCs, like, beforehand. They were kind of more like weebish OCs though, and I was just like, maybe I just need a new start fresh. I was playing The Sims, and I was like, what if I just do Danganronpa in The Sims? Like, how would that go? So I just started, and it turned out I got a lot more invested in it than I thought I would, and it just turned into something really big. I actually did try to make a sprite once, and it took me like 8 hours. It looks pretty good, but I'm not willing to spend like 8 hours on like each and single every sprite. It's just not happening, man.
I mean, well, you have me who's literally working on a sprite right now after recording this.
I just don't have that kind of time.
Oh god, I'm just really slow, but anyways.
From CWeb6471, they ask, did you get inspired to make character personalities certain ways by people you know or follow?
In a way, like, yes and no. A lot of characters, it's hard to say because I don't consider them as like amalgamations of anything from my personal life or from people that I know, because I know some people do write like that. For me, like, I consider fiction entirely separate, but there are some characters who kind of remind me of certain people. I just don't think I can pinpoint it exactly. Like, sometimes when I write Lucy, she kind of reminds me of my sister a little bit, but they're still very different.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh god, why did I write them so cramped? I can't see anything. Okay, I got it, I swear. Alright. From the same person, CWeb6471, is there anything you have learned through this?
Anything I have learned? Yeah, I think one thing that I learned is that you shouldn't be afraid to, like, if you have an idea that you think might be interesting, but you're like not sure when to do it, I would say just do it sooner than later, because the more interesting things you put early on, the more those will lead to more interesting plot points later, and they will just kind of like automatically fuel a plot. Because like later on, like if you put everything and you're like, oh, what if I put it too early? Then I won't have anything to put later on. No, you just continue with those plot points. You follow up on them. You give them an arc. So there were certain things that I like revealed in earlier chapters that I was not planning to reveal until later. It was just kind of like a split-second decision. But I'm glad that I made those decisions, because that way I was able to focus on other things in later chapters.
From the same person, CWeb6471, they ask, is there anything that you regret doing with your series?
Okay, I kind of was prepared for this question a little bit. I wouldn't say it's as much of a regret as much as it is that I just felt really bad doing it. And that would be, spoiler alert, killing off Nathaniel in the 3rd chapter. I mean, it wasn't that I wouldn't have done it, because it was like, it's part of the plot, like it's necessary to show how like the mental health of the students, you know, lead them to do irrational things, especially with the motive that was going on. But I just felt like really bad, because you guys know how in every like Danganronpa you have a relationship, like these two characters have a relationship, and the number one rule is that the relationship cannot last to the end. One of them has to die. So that was he was half of one of the only canon relationships. I say canon because people like to ship other things, and they're like, what if this happened?
Ship wars.
But yeah, I mean, there's lots of things that I also do. Like, I'm very on the fence about doing. Like, I was very on the fence about killing Giuliano in the 1st chapter, because I thought he was a very fun character to write and like a good character out of the mix. But I like to keep people surprised, so having him die first was meant to be like a very shocking and unexpected thing. And I like to outsmart people's predictions. So even if I'm not entirely like, do I really want to do this? Yes, I do. So no regrets. Just keep going. And if not, rewrite the whole season.
Yeah.
Oh jeez. Just rewrite the entire season.
That's what I'm doing with season 1. Well, okay, I'm not rewriting the entire season 1. I'm just rewriting the first half because honestly, it's just ugly. Like, I wasn't using reshade. A lot of the characters didn't have CC, and the text boxes were all over the place. So, and like, they were not consistent at all. So, yeah.
I mean, it sounds like you've got it all planned out, and honestly, I have immense respect for that because I have not planned at all.
Yeah, there was no plan going in when I first started writing the first season, so a lot of things kind of, I wouldn't say like they changed halfway through, but there were a lot of like important character decisions I made like not until chapter 3. Like there's these 2 characters that are ex-vampires, and you'd think that'd be a pretty big thing, right? But I didn't decide that about them until chapter 3.
Oh.
Yeah. So when I rewrite this, I'm like, okay, I have to take all of these things into consideration. Also give the first couple of chapters characters more screen time attention, because you know a common thing when people write their fan games is like they're not sure like what to do. At first they kind of like rush through it, and then they just decide to kick off the characters that they don't really know how to write. But if you're really going back on it, like you want to give everybody screen time. You want them all to be faves. That's why it's called Faves Die.
I was actually going to ask about that. So, you know, I like that.
There you go.
Yeah.
I just try to give everybody attention, that's all.
Yeah.
And that's
honestly,
good. You know,
think,
people can get attached to characters, and you know, screen time is always
Yeah. I want people to get attached to everybody, basically, or anybody. I mean, not everybody's equal. You know, there's characters out there that are like bad, and there's characters who do, you know, questionable things, and very unquestionable things that you're just like, where are their intentions? But also, there's a Camilo hate club for some reason, and he hasn't really done that much. So I'm just like, but everybody thinks he's the mastermind. So. I guess you'll have to wait and see.
I cannot wait for them to be proven right.
No comment.
Paula, do you want to take the last question?
Yes, alright. The last question is from Danganronpa Paradise Lost, and they ask, what's your favorite chapter in your fan game and your favorite chapter in canon Danganronpa?
My favorite chapter, I'm gonna start with the canon Danganronpa part. Actually, that's a good question because I haven't actually seen through or read through Danganronpa in quite a long time. I don't actually, never mind. I don't know about that one just because it's been so long for me that I couldn't exactly tell you. But in my current season, I think chapter 3 has been my favorite so far because a lot of interesting things happened in that season, or that chapter. Even though that chapter took literally 6 months to write, like it just took so long, and it's a really long chapter too. Like it's, how many highlights is it? It's like 16 or 17 highlights, which is like the equivalent to like 170 posts. It's long, and I mean, just a lot of things were revealed. Like there was romance in that one too, and we all love romance. A little bit of it, at least.
We can have a little romance. That's
Little romance.
As a tree.
And ghosts.
And
ghosts?
Just 2 of them. One of them was the ghost of Derek. Actually, he wished to become a spirit because he was like the ultimate scare actor, and so he just really loves Halloween, and he kind of got executed unfairly because there was this whole motive in the second chapter where everybody got like these wish paper things where like if they write something down on it, then they can get like a free like 10-minute wish or something like that, and somebody wished for him to act really like a monster. So then when he was under that wish paper, I guess he killed somebody. He was just like, but the other half of the motive was that if you kill somebody, you can get a permanent wish, regardless if you get away with it or not. But you can't use the wish to like stay alive. So he was just like, well, can I just like be a spirit then? That way I can just be here on this earth forever. And they were like, okay, fine. So now he's just permanently at this like haunted house place, and he scares everybody who goes in. It's pretty great.
That's
Honestly,
an interesting motive.
Yeah, a good motive, and honestly, not a terrible fate.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's kind of sucky because he can't really leave the haunted house.
Oh yeah.
So he's just kind of stuck there forever. And you know, when you're a ghost, like you feel kind of bad. You're like, it feels bad, man. I'm a ghost, but you know, he wished for it, so that's on him.
Yeah, it was his final mortal choice. So like,
Yep, that or nothing, right?
yeah. Honestly, I'd take staying in a haunted house as a spooky ghost man. I would take that over death any day. Oh, I'd have to. I messed up my own thing. I can't speak because I'd have to die to be spooky ghost man to live in the house. So I can't take that over death because I still die. Oh well.
Yeah, you still got executed. You just have to live with the fact that you're dead, I guess.
I mean, you can't really live with that fact because you're not alive.
There's a second ghost as well. There's the ghost of the mastermind from the previous season, who was like the first mastermind, and there was like a 10-year time skip between the first season and the second season. So killing games had been going on for a little while, and the political climate of the world had changed a little bit. But there was like one character, Magnolia, that she was like, okay, I'm gonna trust you because we need to fix this. And so I'll reveal myself as a ghost to you with what limited ghostly power I have. Honestly, there's a lot of rules for being a ghost in this universe. Like you can only like do certain things and not do certain things. It's kind of like, is she good? Is she up to something? We don't really know. But she trusts Magnolia in trying to help bring things back to the way they should be. Hey, I came up with some of my own questions I can answer if you want.
I mean, props on you for being prepared. I'll let you.
Yeah,
you can take the reins
because
from here. I'll just sit back and let the show run.
I can do that if you want. I can just be like, so Q&A with myself here, because honestly, I know that like I don't have a lot of readers, so I didn't think anybody would ask questions. The C-Web person, she's actually the voice actress of Rose, and I went and asked her to ask some questions because I'm like, I don't think anybody else is going to ask questions. my one and only loyal reader, thank you for sticking around for such a long time. If not for you and like one other or two other people, I probably wouldn't still be writing the Fangin. So I don't know, I'm hoping more people will give it a shot eventually. Like, I know it's really long, but I put all of my heart and soul into it, as you could probably tell by now. So let me see. Okay, well, I wanted to ask myself this question: who is your favorite character to write? Well, the series is called Faves Die, right? So I try to make every character be my favorite in a sense. Some I do naturally like more than others, but I think my favorite to write would be Lucy Winberg. Now, Lucy is the ultimate blacksmith. She's this very like tough girl, to the point, like a little bit gothy in her fashion, but she still gives off very like jock and tomboyish vibes. And she has the most reason out of everyone in the cast, and she'll tell you to your face when she thinks you're making a mistake. She's kind of like the accidental mom friend in a sense, which is funny because she also seems like the type of person that would hate children and find them annoying. And I'm also fond of Cherry Vidal from season 1. I didn't mean to get so attached to her. She's like the ultimate matchmaker, and she's probably one of my favorite design-wise. She's kind of like this Southern Belle type girl. She likes jean skirts and vintage fashion, and she's got like this bright cherry red hair. She's probably the closest thing to a protagonist in the first season, which doesn't exactly have a protagonist, but you know, there's actually no protagonist in either season. Okay, well, technically, sort of. There's like sort of a protagonist, but the whole thing is filmed from kind of like a third-person omniscient type view, so you kind of get like a little bit of everybody, like what conversations they're having. It doesn't just follow one person the whole time. So yeah. Sorry, just a slight break here. I'm gonna drink some soda.
Hey, it's okay.
I love the soda. And I guess I have one other question to ask myself. There was actually I kind of went over already. Any characters I don't like to write. So I think out of season 2, Karma is probably my least favorite to write. Like he's grown on me. He's just not my favorite type of character to write. And sometimes I feel like I have to force him to be relevant to the plot. So he's kind of like the big tough guy. He's like the ultimate bouncer, and he's all like talking about fate and karma and like the negatives and positives and balance. He's kind of weird, but he's also like very strong and heavy on a sense of justice. But he's also like. There's one reader who was like so adamant about him dying in chapter 4 because you know how there's the whole like Danganronpa formula where like the big guy like dies in chapter 4.
Yeah.
That didn't happen. So checkmate on that, baby. I don't follow the Danganronpa formula. Thank you. So yeah, I guess that's all I've got for myself.
Yeah.
But I know it not a lot of banter this episode, but still thanks for having me, you guys.
Yeah, of course.
I like to talk a little bit, ramble on, let that ADHD take reign. You know how it goes.
Of course. Yeah. I guess if we're all done, I can do the outro real fast.
I'm sure.
All right. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you, Taya, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on. The links to both the Faves Die account and you said that you're re-uploading season 1 onto a second account, yes?
Yeah, it's just at Dagged Sims.
I'll link both of those down.
Yeah, I also have a third account that's just for like bonus, like pictures, like not like just for fun pictures, and it's at Fave Sims.
All right. I'll probably link either 2 or all 3 of them down below. So go
Thank
read
you
this.
for that.
We don't say that a lot, but we should probably start doing that. Nearly 20 episodes in. Go read these. They're like really cool.
Give it a chance, please. I'm begging you.
But yeah, thanks for listening, and I guess we'll see you next week. So goodbye.
Bye.